Hey, what is up, everybody? And what the heck? Well, I guess that explains the killers outside. It is finally the Halloween season, and I thought what better way to celebrate than to go on Nintendo Eshop and find a game for completely free and complain about it, while apparently I get smacked in the back of the head by a hand. You know, I gotta say, decorating this, I did not consider where I'd be standing, and there's stuff hitting me on the head. But anyways, let's talk about a game. Perseverance, the game right out of the gate that tells you exactly what you're going to need to get through it. Now this game is more of a visual novel than anything, and I've got nothing against that. I've enjoyed my fair share of visual novels, so I thought why not give this a shot and kind of get us started into this Halloween season with some sort of spooky story. So the story starts out with this lady who I'm guessing just had a really hard time opening a can of tomato sauce. But this sauce lady is tasked with bringing in her next target, dead or alive, and then we immediately cut to the dialogue of Jack, who tells us he's about to die soon. Spoilers! Jack starts telling us about how he grew up in this really crappy town and he didn't do what he wanted to in life and just followed the path his parents set out for him, and it's really just a heartwarming story that he goes on. While off in college, Jack meets a lady and things start getting real hot and heavy between the two of them, but then his dad gets cancer, forcing him to move back home. So with all this, Jack moves back home, the lady he met, Natalie, marries him, moves with him, they have a child, and there's also a military base nearby that does weird scientific experiments or has aliens there or something. It's never really fully discussed what goes on there. I think it was supposed to be setting up for later stuff. Jack and Natalie start fighting over whatever weird dramatic situations get crammed into the story, and what is going on here? I don't mean with like all of this, I mean with that painting. Who has a painting like this in their house? What is going on here? Why does it take up so much wall space? Why is it just this weird black and white photo? And is that guy holding a sandwich? I am so confused. We then cut to more drama and more dialogue, but honestly, I couldn't really pay attention to that because I could not take my eyes off of this. Now, I'm no artist, but how did they draw this guy where he looks like somebody just walked in on him taking a dump and go, yep, my work's done here, all good. Okay, to save some time, I'm going to go ahead and just sum up this whole dialogue because it goes on way too long. In short, Natalie is mad because she married a jerk who made her give up on her hopes and dreams. Jack is just literally the worst and mad his daughter won't go hunting with him and is just lazy and does nothing the whole time. And the child, who I can't remember her name, but honestly just can't care enough about this game to go look up, overhears her parents fighting and her dad say he wished he would have rather had a boy than a girl. Like I said, he's the worst. During this fight, in a solid 10 minutes into this, you are finally given your first option to choose something or interact with this in any way. So I chose to make Jack apologize because he is just an awful human being, and let's face it, this is all his fault. But more importantly, I was really hoping it would just end this stupid fight and we could move on to something different. Now Jack finally has enough and just decides to leave to go to his dad's old cabin, and on the way, we stop at Bob's. Now Bob is helpful and kind, and can we just please play as Bob and not Jack? I would much rather play his story, please. Jack picks up some supplies and some booze. Wait, that's an option? Thank God. So on the way out of Bob's, we run into some crazy lady who doesn't know where she is or how she got there. Amnesia, I guess. Another good plot point to throw in this story. Good job. Now, in keeping in the Jack character, I decided not to give her my jacket when she told me she was cold. It just seemed like the fitting Jack thing to do. And after that fun encounter, we hit back on the road and drive by Sauce Lady, who's looking casual and relaxed, I'm gonna say is what the vibe was here. After making it to the cabin, in the middle of nowhere, we hear a dog barking, and Jack just chooses to ignore this, just thinking it's not a big deal. He then proceeds to start a fight with his daughter on the phone because that's just the Jack thing to do at this point, and then caps the night off with some drinking. Finally, something with this game I can get behind. We then cut back to the calm, chilled, and relaxed lady we saw earlier, and it turns out the target she's tracking is the woman we saw outside of Bob's. She's now in custody of the local police. We'll get into that story a bit later, that will come back. But it was about this point I was 45 minutes into this game and was kind of starting to wonder when anything interesting was going to happen. And spoiler alert, nothing really does happen exciting in this game. So we're just going to kind of jump through some of these details real quick just to kind of get through this thing. Jack wakes up late from a night of drinking and hears the dog barking outside again. He goes to find the dog and finds it tied up to this tree. Jack then feeds the sandwiches his wife made to him earlier to the dog, not before whining about it and saying what a waste it's gonna be. Jack then takes the dog back to the cabin, calls Bob up, Bob comes and cleans the dog's wounds. I then proceed to name the dog Odin, because why wouldn't you name this dog Odin? That's the perfect name for him. Jack then proceeds to accuse Bob of wanting to have an affair with his wife. This in turn makes Bob leave. Jack then plays with Odin, making him fall over and break his phone. We then find out the lady from Bob's turned into a zombie. Jack and Odin go out hunting, and oh god, finally something interesting happens. Okay, I get this is supposed to be meat sticking out of her mouth, but why did they make it resemble a tongue so much? They should have drawn this any other way, so you don't look at it first and be like, she's sticking her tongue out? Odin then decides to attack her. She throws him against a tree, so I choose to shoot her. She doesn't die. I choose to shoot her again. Jack, then trying to grapple with the fact he just killed another person, goes back to the cabin, and thankfully Odin's okay, kind of the only thing that matters in this story right now. After getting back to the cabin, Jack is able to make his phone start working again and finds a voicemail from Natalie letting him know that somebody tore through the town and everything's falling into chaos, so she's on her way out to go get him. However, her strategy for getting him doesn't seem to be the most effective. Jack then goes to start heading back home, finds Natalie in the crashed car, they both embrace, say they're sorry. Turns out she left their kid with Bob, because let's face it, she's probably way better off with Bob than anybody else. I mean, I can't imagine anything bad would... Oh... Never mind. Wait, end of part 1. No, I am not playing more. You cannot make me. Oh, thank God. Yeah, so I guess this was supposed to get a part 2 that never has happened or is going to happen. I was trying to do some research and figure out if it's being worked on right now, but I honestly couldn't find anything about it. Now, I get wanting to release your story in chunks like this. However, this is just not the way to do it. I didn't care about these characters. I wasn't invested in the story. There is no reason for me to come back to this story at all. If a part 2 ever releases, I don't care. I don't want to see this through. It was like a really bad episode of Walking Dead where even less happens. However, if there was any bright side to this game, it would have to be the faces of the people in this game. So, enjoy all of the wonderful faces you will see in this game.